everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Amanda Ostrander. I am a teacher-turned-homeschool mom, and this is Raising A to Z, a place where we talk about all things homeschooling. And today I am going to tell you what our personal homeschooling schedule and routine looks like. This week's video is sponsored by Chalkboard Publishing. We'll talk about them a little bit more later on in the video. I want to talk about what our schedule looks like, what my personal schedule with my kids looks like, because I talked about this last week when I was talking about how to build a schedule. Everyone's schedule is going to look different, and that's okay. I also understand the joy and the love of watching other people's schedules and seeing what their routines are like, because it gives you a little bit of reference and sometimes a little bit of inspiration. If you asked 100 people, they're going to have 100 different answers as to what their schedule and routine looks like. I can only tell you what mine looks like in this sense, and I'm going to tell you what mine looks like. I'm going to explain it to you as three separate routines, because I have three separate routines. I have my home day schedule, which is what it looks like on days when we aren't leaving the house. I have my days out schedule, which is what my day looks like when we have activities and things going on. And then I also have kind of my overall weekly schedule. We do have at least one home day a week. It is a thing that I am very adamant about guarding, because otherwise we would literally be running all the time. It's one of those blessings and a curse. We live in an area that has a lot of homeschooling support. We have a lot of family nearby. We have a lot of friends nearby. And so we have for sure one day a week, which is our home day. For us, it's Monday. Thursdays occasionally, I'd say probably 50% of the time, is also a full home day for us, or at least a partial, it's mostly a home day for us. Maybe more than that, 75% of the time it's a home day. But for sure, Mondays is the day that I guard and I protect. What does my day look like on a home day? I usually get up around 6. My alarm goes up at 6:30. I usually roll out of bed around 6:45. Then I take the dog for a walk while my husband gets ready for work. And then basically as soon as I get back from my walk, he's out the door to work. So yeah, typically my kids wake up anywhere between 7 and 8. Depends on what's been going on. And they watch cartoons on their iPads until I get back from my walk. And then I make them breakfast and they continue watching cartoons until they're done eating breakfast. That's what happens pretty much every day of the week when it comes to breakfast, just so we're all on the same page. That is our breakfast routine. After breakfast, before they even leave the table, I pull out our morning basket and we do our full morning basket, getting us kind of into the zone of learning. We do our readings and our poetry and picture studies and all those things. We get right into doing that. That takes us about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on what we're doing that day. And then we take a 15-minute break to get ready. So the kids will go and they'll clear their plates, they'll get dressed, they'll brush their teeth, they'll comb their hair, all that kind of stuff. And then we come back and then we do the next section of our day, which is our school block. Days when I'm home, I'm always trying to do our full day of learning. So by that I mean we're doing math, we're doing literacy, and then we're also doing our unit study. Not in that order. We always start with unit study because it's something we do together. And then when we're done that lesson, then they break off into their individual math and language lessons. So I find that tends to be kind of our next block. And that way I also know that I'm getting a little bit extra unit study in there. And our unit study is, for those who don't know, I rotate between a science and a social studies topic. So while we only do 3 subjects at a time, by the end of the year, we've actually covered more than the public school system. So once they're done their individual work, they just have assigned pages. I am there to help them. I'm there to assist them, explain lessons if it needs to be. But for the most part, Alexia's pretty independent at this point. Unless there's a concept she just doesn't understand, or it's something really, really new, then I'll go over and assist her. But for the most part, she works through most of her stuff by herself, which is awesome. Zoe still needs a lot of support, so I usually sit by Zoe and help her. But by the end of our session, usually on a unit study day, it's usually about an hour, maybe hour and 20. Depends on how much we're doing that day. And then they are off to do what I call their independent stuff, which works for us. So I usually give them a Post-it note and it has their independent things. So their independent learning and their chores. So independent learning is things like they have their piano practice. Alexi has to do her French lessons on Duolingo. Zoe, it's not technically independent, but she goes and does her speech therapy practice. And her piano. So they have those. And then I usually give them anywhere from 2 to 3 chores that need to be done. And then once those chores are done and their independent learning is done, they're free for the day. They're off. And by giving them that, I find it's been really good, especially for, well, I want to say Zoe. It works out better for Alexi because Alexi is very like, let's get it done. Zoe, so maybe it works out better for Alexi. Zoe tends to be, we call her a lollygagger. She kind of just like la-da-da-da-da through life. And so when it comes to getting chores done, she's often the last one to get her chores done. And so by giving them chores independently that are things they can accomplish independently, I find that like Alexi's often doing things and then it's only Zoe who has to suffer the consequences of being a lollygagger. And I always make sure that their chores are like age appropriate. Don't worry. Often Alexi has free time before lunch. I'd say Zoe has free time maybe 50% of the time. She's a lollygagger. It's just who she is. Then we do lunch. Lunch is at noon on the nose. Because I need to have a time limit because otherwise like they start asking at like 10:30 when's lunch. But yeah, so they know lunch is at noon. I will feed you lunch. Don't worry. I always feed my kids. And so we do lunch. They often watch a cartoon during lunch. Awesome. After lunch, they go into quiet time and I go into work time. So quiet time for them, they go down to their activity room, homeschool room, which we call it the activity room because they actually don't do a lot of homeschooling in there this year. They've kind of migrated to the dining room table, which has worked out really nice for us. But anyway, they go down to the activity room. They play, do all whatever they're doing. There are a few things they have to ask to get down. For example, like if Zoe wants to do sensory bin, she just has to ask and I'll set it up for her. Same thing with painting, watercolors and stuff. They have to ask. I make them ask because if the room is too messy, I make them clean up before they're allowed to take out a messy activity. So if their like table is just like covered in stuff, well, then they do have to ask. But otherwise, for the most part, they don't have to, like if they're just playing with their characters or their magnet tiles, they just play. So while they're playing, I come down and I have like all of my Raising A to Z stuff, emails, content, prepping video notes, all that kind of stuff. I'm doing that. Then at around 3:00, they get to tidy up. We are trying really hard to implement a tidy up. It's a struggle. But we are trying that at 3:00, they tidy up. And once they've tidied their room, then I will get them a snack. It just seems to be what works for us. If they know that there's like a thing at the end, they tend to be a little bit quicker about it, especially Zoe. So once they are done cleaning up, they can have a snack and I'll make them a snack. Then we usually like go outside if possible, or I send them outside or we go for a walk depending on what time Dad comes home. And then I make dinner. Then we either hang out, do a tidy up. Sometimes they do music lessons with Dad. And then they have their bedtime routine of another snack around 8:00. They get pajamas, a snack. And then we move into our big book. So our big book is usually a novel that's associated with our unit study. Although sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a cool book. So that's what we do. That is a typical home day for us. So if it's a Monday and it's a home day, afternoon snack is tea time. So we'll do like tea and teacups, a little snack, and read poetry. And I also go over what's going to happen for the rest of the week. But otherwise, it's just a regular snack. So that is a home day. When we're at home, that's what our day looks like. When we're going out, or if we have, and I consider going out more so a day that we have activities in the morning, because it does affect our school schedule a little bit more. But typically on a day out, it starts very similar. We have breakfast with cartoons, we do our morning basket, and then we go into a very short school block. So usually it's one subject. Usually I've been focusing on math because I do like to get math done. Although occasionally, like depending on how much time we have, I might add in language, but we will never do unit study on a going out day. We're going to do math, maybe language. Depending on, like I said, depends on how quick we're getting through stuff. But after that, then we're going to go into our activities. Like I said, this is usually the routine for a day when we have activities in the morning. So like a day when we have gymnastics. So then we're getting into, we go to the activity, we come back, we have lunch, then it's either quiet time or an afternoon activity, depending on what the schedule is. If we are going out to like co-op, then obviously we go to co-op. If we're at home for the afternoon, then it is quiet time. Then we have dinner. And typically on days out, I'm doing either leftovers or a crock pot meal. So it's been cooking all day. We just have to eat it. And that's usually a little bit earlier. And then we head out to our evening activities, whatever they may be for the night. And then we do our typical bedtime routine. Depending on what time we're coming home will depend on if we actually do our reading. So like when my kids have choir, we don't get home till like 8:30. So we don't have time to read because I like to have them in bed by like 9 o'clock. If they're done a little bit earlier, like if we finish reading earlier or like on a day when we don't have time to read, if it's before 9, I let them read for a few minutes in their bed by themselves. That is our day out routine. But now I know a lot of people want to know, what does my entire week look like? But before I get into our week and what our weekly routine looks like, I want to talk about our sponsor for this week, Chalkboard Publishing. I've been using Chalkboard Publishing workbooks with my girls for 3 years now. I love that they are simple and easy to follow, but still help me build great skills and foundations for my kids. Through short lessons that are full of activities kids will enjoy, these workbooks align with most provincial standards and are a great option for those looking for a Canadian curriculum. Chalkboard Publishing is known for the single subject workbooks like phonics, spelling, daily language, math, STEM, art, cursive, to name a few. But new this year are their complete Math Scholar and English Scholar ebooks. Just click, download, and print a complete math or English curriculum that your kids will love and that meet Canadian educational standards. Awesome and affordable, Chalkboard Publishing is a great Canadian curriculum option. Thank you to Chalkboard Publishing for sponsoring this week's video, and use the link below and the coupon code RAISINGA2Z for a 15% discount off of all of their workbooks. Thank you, Chalkboard Publishing. So what does our week look like? This is our rough weekly schedule, and I change my weekly schedule. I always do a revamp every term. So every kind of 3 months. September to the end of December is kind of like our first block. I'm going to go January until probably April. No, I'll probably go March this year because Easter's early. I usually go to about Easter. So Easter's early. So I'll go to the end of March. Yeah, we'll do Easter because Easter's early. And then I'll do April, May, June will be another schedule. And then the summer is different. Our schedule and routine does change a little bit depending on the season. And that's normal and it's totally acceptable. And you totally should change your schedule. And I think it's just natural and it's a good habit to look through, take time to assess what's going on. And because a lot of our kids' activities kind of run in 10 to 12 week blocks, it does give us a point to check in, is this something we want to continue? Is this not something we're going to continue? Different things that way. So this is what's working for us right now. January through March is and it's actually January through March is going to be very similar to our fall routine. Nothing's really changing. It'll start changing kind of after Easter, but this is what we're doing right now. So Mondays is our home day. It is the day that I guard as much as possible. I think the only Monday that we have left the house was one Monday in December because that was our co-op's Christmas party and they wanted to have it at the bowling alley, and the only way we could have it at the bowling alley was on a Monday because it's the only day they don't have league. So I think that's pretty good. September to January, that's a full 4 months that we've never left the house on a Monday. Awesome. So Mondays, our home days, we do our full day, our full home day routine. We have our tea time in the afternoon, which I absolutely love. My kids love it. And I've actually loved having Mondays be our home day because I do our family meeting, which is sitting down. Here's what our week looks like. Here's what's coming up, things they need to know. I just think it's just worked out so well. And then we do tea time and read poetry and it's lovely. Anyway, so yeah. And then this year, something that's new is typically Monday nights, my husband will do like a music lesson with the kids individually. So they both are doing different things. Zoe is learning the piano. Alexi is doing piano and voice. And so he'll do like a 15-minute music lesson with them. And then that becomes their practice in their independent learning throughout the week. Tuesdays, we're home in the morning. So we kind of follow a morning routine in the morning. And then after lunch, we go to our local co-op, which is like in our immediate neighborhood kind of co-op. And my kids love it, we love that co-op. We've made a lot of really good, close friends. It's just been fantastic. So we have co-op in the afternoon, and then we're home for an hour and a half before we need to, maybe 2 hours, not even quite 2 hours, before we need to leave for choir. So on Tuesdays, I always make a pot of soup in the crock pot, and it cooks all day. After co-op, we take like 35-40 minutes downtime where everyone gets to like chill, kind of like a mini quiet time. And then I'm literally buttering bread, scooping soup into bowls. We eat, and then we're out the door to choir. I am the choir director for a children's choir at our local church, which by local church is not local. It's like 40 minutes drive. It's like a 40-minute drive there and 40 minutes back. But we're rural, so we're used to it. Basically, we get home and the kids immediately, actually, I feed them a snack in the car. We pack a snack and they eat it on the way home. So when they get home, it's PJs, brush your teeth. If you're in bed before 9, you get to read for a few minutes, but that's what we do. Wednesdays is a day when we have another activity, and it actually works out. I love telling people this. So on Tuesdays, I make a big pot of soup. Wednesday morning, we do like a short school day, like I said, 1 or 2 subjects. And then I put our crock pot back into the crock pot base and put it on warm. And then we go to gymnastics. And they do morning gymnastics, the homeschool gymnastics class, which I love because I find because it's such wide age gaps. I find they push the kids a little bit more because like Alexi's at the bottom of her age. And so she gets kind of pushed to do more, and it actually ends up being a lot of friends from their local co-op. They're in that group. So it's just wonderful. We love our homeschool gymnastics. And then we come home, and because the crock pot has been on warm, it is all heated up and ready to go. So they get another bowl of soup leftovers for lunch. It's fantastic. Because it goes like our gymnastics ends at noon, and then we have to drive. It's like 15 minutes. So by the time we get home, the kids are starving. So like, this works so well. So yeah, definitely pro tip, use your crock pot as a heating feature. Like the warm as a heating feature. It's fantastic. Food's hot when you get home. Anyway, then we typically do quiet time in the afternoon. We have dinner, and then the girls have Girl Guides literally around the corner from us, and they have been loving that. So they do Girl Guides. But it's only an hour. So they're home by like 7. And so we hang out and we do our normal nighttime routine and read our book and all of that. Thursdays are often as home day for us. Although occasionally they will go and visit, my mom on a Thursday for a couple hours in the like late morning, early afternoon. But often like, yeah, if she's not around or is busy or whatever, then it's just a home day for us, and we kind of have it as like a more chill day. Yeah, but we do like a regular school day in the morning. So even if they're going to see grandma, they go after they're done all their school and chores and all of that, and then they can go to grandma's. Because Grammy says every day we work and play. So once they're done all their work, then they can go play. Yeah, and then Friday is our swing day. Sometimes we have stuff in the morning, sometimes we don't. If we don't have to go anywhere, I have been doing creative writing in the morning with my kids, or like working on creative writing or different writing projects in the morning on Fridays after breakfast. But if we have things, then we just have things and we go and do them. Like it's kind of depending on what's happening. Fridays is often the day that Zoe has speech therapy. She has speech therapy once a month, and we do have to go into town. So it's like a 40-minute drive. But if it's if we're going to town, we're making a day out of it. So we'll go in for her speech, and then we'll either do like a Costco run or something else. There's another co-op that we do that's like a citywide co-op. And so that is on Friday afternoon. So depending on what the activity is on a Friday, we might go to that. So sometimes it's like just a park meetup. and that's cool. Maybe we'll do that. Sometimes it's not. So if we have nothing planned and we're not going to town, we probably won't go to the co-op in the afternoon if it's like a park meetup. But it's also the group that does a lot of like the bigger things. So they're the group that we do like our vendors market with. We've done like a lot of field trips with them on a Friday afternoon. That's the one we did our big bowling party. So we're probably there like 2 Fridays a month, depending on what the activity is. And it works out that I have always speech planned a little bit later. I try to get a little bit later. So basically it's speech, lunch, and then we're heading over to co-op. Then we come home, and Friday is typically our movie night, usually because if we've gone out, I'm tired. I don't want to do anything. So Friday is movie night. We get some chips and some snacks, and we pick a movie and we watch a movie. Yep. Saturdays and Sundays are the weekend. It is what it is. Saturday mornings, we often do a tidy up and we do our weekly chores. I've said this before. We do like laundry, all the laundry on one day. We'll do other activities, other things that need to be done. I often film on Saturday mornings. So like while the laundry's going, my husband will like take the kids and go hang out with them for an hour or so. But yeah, Saturdays are busy. They usually have kind of a quiet time in the afternoon. And then Saturday nights, we've been doing pizza and game night. We make homemade pizza, which is fantastic. And then we do games. So you can see we have a lot of games. You can see up here, we have lots of games. And so we'll pick a game and we'll play games for a little bit. And then Sundays are very much a toss up in our home. Some days we go to church. Some days we just hang out and we're just too tired and we just hang out. Sometimes we go to my in-laws or my parents for dinner on Sundays. It is what it is. Sundays change a lot for us. But yeah, that is pretty much my week. And then it starts all over again. So, yeah, that's our week. That's our routine. That's what our days look like here in the Ostrander house. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this inspires you to make a great schedule for yourselves. Thank you to our sponsor, Chalkboard Publishing, and make sure you guys are following us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.